and welcome to BizNews. I'm Elizabeth Lee, together with Tony Lopez.
Good evening, Ben.
Tonight we have the PCCI, or the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as our guest. Honorary Chair and Treasurer, June Ortiz, and President, Attorney Mike Varela. Gentlemen, welcome back to our show.
Hello.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. Gentlemen, let us know what was 2013? How was 2013?
2013?
2013.
Well,
The year that was.
it has been a very good year, no? There were so many positive developments that happened during the year, except that we were hit by this calamity, of a magnitude that is not really expected, that really caught us all by
strongest
surprise,
typhoon to
including
make
the government,
landfall.
typhoon, and the earthquake also in Bohol. So, except for those two developments, the rest of the year has been very good. As a matter of fact, we have been getting a lot of upgrades during this year. We got from all the leading international agencies gave us an upgrade,
We completed the upgrades, four major upgrades.
Yes, and we have been getting favorable GDP for many quarters, for 5 quarters.
5 consecutive quarters.
Consecutive quarters,
Of
for more than
7%
7%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's indeed a good 2013, maybe there will be a small decline during the fourth quarter in view of this calamity, but if you look at the average, it will be still this 7%.
7%.
Yeah.
Which will be one of the highest in Southeast Asia.
The highest in Southeast Asia.
And the
in
second
spite
highest in
of,
Asia.
There were also several, I think, export decline for a while in the first, second quarter. But in the third quarter, it went up by more than 10%.
June naman. June.
Well, the year was really a year of outstanding women in the Philippines. We started with Venus Ra.
Yeah, outstanding women.
We had Megan Yang and Shamsi Sopso. But the most outstanding and the one will be remembered will be Yolanda.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And, but economically, I think we did fairly
Don't forget
well.
Janet Lim. Yeah.
Yes.
The most destructive of all.
And I guess we did fairly well. Despite the fact that we have been warning that the dangerous stock exchange that we were having in the prices, and I think a lot of people got hurt because we did not anticipate that it will go from 7,300 down to 5,700. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's recovering now. But we have been affected mostly by things beyond our control. The happenings in Europe and in U.S. Certainly affected our market, affected our investment. We wish that the trickle-down effect of the growth of our economy should have been felt. Unfortunately, it has not yet been accompanied by foreign direct investment. We're still in the lower rank. And while it's nice to say that we have been getting a lot of upgrades, unless it's accompanied by really positive things like foreign direct investment, it doesn't really amount to anything. It's just saying, well,
You mean the credit rating upgrade to investment grade?
Mas maganda ang na makabayad sa utang, but everybody else in the area who are competing for investments are in that level. So unless we are also planning to borrow a lot, which we are not, outside doesn't really amount
Since
to
there are
much.
many other ways of raising capital now, Equity, long-term bonds.
And our banks are
awash
awash
with
with
cash.
money.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, but do you see that improving for 2014? The trickle down, the investments, and the construction after Yolanda. You see that coming in the first quarter
Yes,
of the.
definitely. Although many of our international agencies, in particular Asian and the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank, are saying that our growth really does not provide us the necessary jobs.
It's not quite
That's
inclusive.
why-
Is
There's
what
been no
the-
job creation.
Yeah, no, we need more. That is why we are saying that in 2014 in particular, we will have to strengthen our manufacturing sector.
Yes.
Because this will be the
Yes.
one that can provide jobs, not only for the skilled, but also for the unskilled.
Yes.
In particular. So
Who
we
are
want
more
to strengthen
plentiful.
them.
Huh?
Yeah,
Who are
yeah.
more plentiful.
So we would like to work with government on the development of this industry.
We have about 7 million people who are either out of work or partially out of work.
Partially out of work, that's
But in
right.
fairness, in the third quarter, manufacturing was doing very well.
Yeah. Although right now it is not service alone that provides the employment, because service alone cannot really
Sustain
cover
our yeah.
all these requirements of jobs. That's why industry is really has contributed a lot.
For long-term and sustainable development, you really need to develop industry. And the biggest component there is manufacturing.
That's right. That's right. And
Well, and for the kind of economy that we have 99
Million people.
percent that are micro, small, and
Yeah.
medium. We really have to devote more time on them because they are the employers.
Yeah, 70% of the workforce is in
Yes.
SMEs. No?
Yeah.
SMEs,
That's inclusive growth, right?
Yeah,
That's the
that
real
would be
definition of
inclusive
inclusive
growth.
growth.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are the limitations? Why are we not having this accelerated inclusive growth since it's one of the platforms of the president?
Well, one, we're dependent too much on service,
Services.
services, and it does not give us inclusive growth. When you say
Services and,
services.
and consumption.
And
to push the
we are
economy.
consumption driven rather than we do not also depend internal tayo. We depend internally. We do not depend on foreign products for our exports or for anything like that.
We really have to produce something to sell. No?
We have to. Yeah, that is right. That's
Right
true.
now, our biggest export is people.
Well, it is still the OFW remittances, and that really drives the economy.
Yeah,
You see, we are the fourth. I think we are the fourth, the fourth.
Yeah. Di ba second na? Mike?
Biggest remittance
fourth.
of the world, in the world.
After
no?
Mexico. No?
More than $18 billion, 18.8 or $18.7 billion.
That's for the first 10 months of 2013.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
for the
the
whole
early,
year,
for
we'll
the-
hit about 23 billion.
23 billion. That was only for 18 to 2010.
Yeah,
2010.
yeah.
But now, as you said, we are hitting $23 billion.
All right, we're going to continue this discussion. We'll be right back. You're watching BizNews. Welcome back. June, Mike, there are several constraints to the growth and inclusive growth. What are these?
Well, the constraints, the power cost is number one.
Power
The
cost.
higher
Yes.
power and electricity cost.
Now, siguro, Mike, about 20% of production cost. No?
20
Power.
or 30%?
30 to 40%. Actually, it's 30 to 40%. Especially for the large enterprises.
Peso
big
worth of
enterprises.
production.
Malayo ang labor
Comes from
cost
energy.
or mga raw material
Labor
cost
is
compared
about
to...
12% siguro, no?
Oo. Dito, 30 to 40%.
And that's unbearable, no?
This has to
And
be...
that's the highest ratio in Asia, if not in the world, no?
Yes, that's right. So that's why it has to be...
Pero mo, hamburger, halimbawa, 100 pesos, 40 pesos, is kuryente.
Look at that. That is why it's very important. Kailangan meron tayong policy. Ay, kamukha nito what happened to us recently. It was power surge.
Yes. Yeah.
They didn't know
The
how to
highest
control
generation
it
charge.
and what to do.
The highest generation charge in the history of this country, no? What, 12 pesos per kilowatt hour?
That's right. Almost. Yeah.
Generation charge lang yun. That's not even the cost of power. Kumbaga sa ano, yun yung commission to produce the power, no?
So what would you recommend, since this really hits the bottom line of manufacturing,
Yes.
most especially the power rate
The
hike?
PCCI said that for a speedy relief, let's use the
Malampaya.
Malampaya funds
Yeah.
to cover for the cost, no, partially or fully of this surge. No. That is on a mere immediate relief.
Anyway,
but in the long term,
Yeah.
I think the
We have to lower
DOE
energy cost, no? We have to lower.
Yeah.
Or you need policy, because
There must be a policy, you know. I think the supply contracts should provide that the power supplier, must be responsible and accountable for incidents.
No, one
like
reason
this.
for the high energy prices in the coming years is the new policy of the Energy Regulatory Commission. May tinatawag sila ng PBR, Performance-Based Rating. In simple terms, ang ibig sabihin yan, kung anong gusto mong presyo, bahala na si Lord sa'yo. Parang ganun eh.
Patay tayo doon.
PBR, dati, before you could raise your electricity rate, you have to go to the ERC.
Yeah.
Ngayon, you don't need to do that because mayroon ang PBR. You just present your plan, appear to be good boy, and you'll be given the rate increase.
Pero kailangan nilang ayusin ito. Otherwise, itong power surge nito, rate surge will continue. Diba?
Pero ang problem kasi,
Kailangan
John, Mike, it's easy to pontificate on kailan baba yung kuryente. But the law of supply and demand operates. No? Kung wala namang kuryente, siyempre, tataasan yung remaining supply.
Oo nga. Kaya yung open access.
There's a mismatch.
That is why for the last several years, PCCI has been saying that you really have to address the problem. And
Power
now
supply
it's,
problem,
there's still denial mode that there is a impending crisis. It's really...
I think in the next 2 years, no? Yung pag in Mindanao, they felt it 2 years ago, di ba? Walang kuryente, kulang ang kuryente.
Kaya yung open access na sinasabi nila, walang full use or utilization. Kasi kulang ang supply, kulang ang power.
Sa Eastern Visayas with the Yolanda, the generation plants of EDC nag-breakdown, no? Completely overwhelmed.
So what happened to the investment plans that was being touted
Well,
by?
that's why we feel that the first thing to do is really accept that there is, if not a crisis, an impending crisis.
There's a shortage. There's an energy shortage.
And based on that, make policies that will address the time. Because the investment, even if you put investment now, it will take time.
3 years.
To
At least
put
3
up
years
the
to
power
put plants on stream. No?
And you decide what kind of power you want to have and give all the necessary incentive need be to be able to do this, because otherwise we are just being left deeper and deeper into the problem.
That's right.
But is that something that's being addressed now, and that PCCI would push very hard?
Well, we are pushing, but our feeling is they're still in denial mode.
Tapos sa
There
June,
is a
ang ano pa
problem.
naman, ang kuryente or energy is a bellwether product or service, no? Pag tumaas yan, ang laki ng impact down the line, no? Cascading effect, no?
Talaga sa household. No?
And it's one of the first thing that possible foreign investor will look at. What is the power cost?
Because of our high energy cost from the late 1990s up to the early 2000s, we missed the 3 inflows of foreign direct investments that went into Southeast Asia in the last 20 years. Inaangal yan ng mga investors, high power cost. Because we already have industrial peace. Wala tayong mga strike, di ba? I think only one for 2013. Happy ang investor. we had very low capital costs. Interest rates are record low. But then we have the governance thing. This is an honest government, although it sometimes seems to be less than competent. So, yun na talaga, energy ang malaking hangover. No?
Kaya nga, medyo excited kami rito. There is an investor that's going to put up an energy city.
Energy city.
Kampala, from Campak.
Saan niya ang city?
Po, sa South of Luzon. No?
South of Luzon.
He's investing $5 billion in
$5
Italy.
billion.
$5 billion, no?
That's more.
And he's also putting up liquefied natural gas.
LNG.
And a petrochemical facility, a water company.
Chinese?
No, he's from Dubai.
Dubai.
From Dubai.
We need about $44 billion a year in energy investment to fix the supply problem. That's $5 billion. So, at least covered ng, kailan ba yan, Ustream? But from intention to planning to implementation is about 3 years.
He has been starting this, no? So next year he hopes to inaugurate it.
Next year?
Next year. Well, first or
Ganun
second
siya
quarter
kabilis?
of next year. Yes, he will inaugurate, no? But it will take at least
Baka
5 years to
cornerstone.
complete.
Cornerstone. Cornerstone.
Yun. At least siguro ito, meron tayong source of power supply.
Pero
Even
that
the
will
power
come after
cost
3 years pa, Mike. What we need is the power now.
So in
At
the
a reasonable price.
Yeah, so exactly. So in the meantime, what's now the stopgap measure in terms of policy? Because we can't
ano na lang yan, green and bury it. Di ba? Diba? Kaya naman magmumura ka, walang darating na kuryente na mura, di ba?
But you were saying there has to be...
The problem in Luzon, at least, is the price. But in Mindanao, it's a real thing.
Siguro nga dapat one mitigation is the subsidy. And that money can come from Malampaya. Magkano ba Malampaya? 200 billion? Ang pondo niyan? Anyway, kailangan lang yata ng Meralco, 9 billion So you just give 10% of the Malampaya fund to Meralco to keep themselves quiet. Oy, don't be too exorbitant naman. Parang ganun, no?
Yeah. All right, we're going to continue this discussion. We'll be right back. You're watching BizNews.
Michael, and you mentioned that one constraint for 2014 is high cost of energy. Diba ang main problem is the high incidence of poverty? Despite the high incidence of poverty, in spite of the fact that the economy grew for, say, 6 quarters, consecutive quarters at 7%.
Yun na nga, because
and
we do not
actually, overall, more than 40 quarters na ang economic positive growth.
Oo nga, that's right. But
That
we do not...
poverty incidence has remained stagnant at 30% of the population.
Because employment
we do
is
not
being
create
generated.
enough jobs.
So quality jobs is what you're saying, not quality.
That is why we're saying, let's focus on manufacturing industry.
And that's ironic, no? The savings rate of the Philippines is 30% of GDP. GDP is 12 trillion. 30% of 12 trillion is 4 trillion. Ayun na extra money natin. Park in the central bank is about another 3 trillion of deposits of commercial banks. Tapos we have these remittances, $23 billion. Multiply that by 40 alone. That's already 900 billion pesos. Dami natin pera. And yet there's so many who are poor, so many who have no jobs, and so many who are restive. No? Ganyan.
How can we make the money more productive?
A lot of people do not know this, no? The unprecedented growth in the informal labor sector.
Informal.
Before,
Ano yung mga contractual?
hindi.
Hindi, yung underground economy.
Tricycle
underground.
driver, market vendors, yung mga caddy sa
Golf course.
And this is now 86%
Ang
of the labor
informal,
force.
86.
14% lang. Kaya,
Informal, walang minimum wage yan.
Wala.
They're
They're
not
not covered.
covered.
they're captured by the law. That is why when people start saying solution, taasan mo ang sweldo, 14% lang yun.
Naapektuhan,
That's
nabebenefit.
right. That's right.
And out of the 14%, kalahati nun lang ang minimum wage earners.
Ganun ba?
Oo. Kaya akala nila populist move yung magtataas ka. So what happens? The 86% suffers the inflation caused by the increase. And yet, wala naman silang pagkukuhanan. And yun ang problema. That's why the poverty is there.
And every time you increase the minimum wage, you also increase the unemployment rate, di ba? Kasi yung imbes na mag-employ ka ng 6, dahil nag-increase, magiging 5. Di ba? Siyempre, you have to cut costs.
Yun ang perfect example dyan. If you increase the salary by 10% without any regards for productivity or sales or whatever, so kung ang payroll mo, let's say, is 10 million a year, pinag-increase ka ng 10% doon
That's
sa
1 million.
so magiging 11. Or let's say, ang empleyado mo is 1,000. What will you do? Gagawin ko 900. Hindi naman tumaas ang sales ko.
Yeah.
So, you
Saka hindi tumaas ang productivity.
hindi tumaas ang productivity. Hindi naman tumaas
Walang
yung sales ko.
productivity. Yan ang
So,
problema.
saan ko kukunin? Babawasan. Year after year
Bawasan
after
ng
year, yun ang
tao.
nangyayari.
Yeah.
Kasi ang dami na papapogi na politiko. Oo.
Hindi lang yun. Yung mga hindi may kaya, they go underground. Lalo dumalaki yung
Kala nila maganda yung... Kasi we already have one of the highest minimum wages in Southeast Asia.
in Asia.
We are on the top, if not second highest. No?
Number 1.
Saka masakit, nobody takes care of the informal sector. Kasi hindi sila organized.
Yeah.
Yan yung mga per day, no? Mga karpintero, mensahero, ganyan.
Kaya wala yan.
But with all the money in the banks, it's very unproductive. Is there a way to actually have that trickle down and help maybe the micro entrepreneurs, microfinance?
Well, that's our lament. No?
Yan ang sinasabi.
Because this Bangko Sentral is so enamored with inflation targeting
Inflation,
that they will map up all this liquidity
Yeah,
and will not agree to
The central bank should change its attitude, di ba? And the original function ng central banking was to promote a rising level of employment, di ba? Di ba? Employment, income, and production. Pinalitan nila sa inflation, stability.
Actually, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's good.
Sa 1949 charter ng central bank,
because
nakalagay
now,
promote the rising level of income, employment, and productivity.
Because now they feel that they are only responsible for prices,
pricing, peso
tapos
dollar
yung
rate.
stability of the financial
Exchange rate,
sector. And we were trying to inject in the amendment a statement that it must be regarding the economic growth and employment. And they do not
Sa
want to
original
agree.
charter ng
They
the
don't
old
want to
central
agree.
bank. Yan ang,
right.
ang
We'll have
original
to revert
function
back
nila.
to the original
That's why,
charter.
remember,
Well, at
John,
least consider the program of the national government. Para silang
that's why, John, remember in 1972, April, the Central Luzon economy was devastated by massive flood. Yung Lingayen Gulf, saka Manila Bay, nag-date sa Central Luzon. Lubog lahat. I remember Governor Licaros pump prime the economy of Central Luzon by injecting at that time 200 million pesos. And Central Luzon was able
that's a big
to
amount at
cover.
that time.
Ito dapat dami ng Central Bank reserves. $84 billion.
Yeah.
$84 billion. Di ka sabi ni John Palafox, they need only $7 billion to rehabilitate Eastern Visayas. 7/84, wala pang 10% yan ng reserves ng Central Bank.
And economy
There's
is
no
saying-
money. There's plenty of money. All there's a shortage of is imagination, dynamism, movement, will.
And their target is about 3% inflation. Most economists will be saying 8% even is manageable.
In fact,
Inflation-based kasi.
dapat pag ganyang the target is creating employment, ayaw mo mag-inflation.
So how do you intend to
dinadaya pa
grow
yung
8%, 9% if your target of inflation is
Hindi nga, papogi sila. They target very high inflation rate, 5%. Hindi siya realistic yun kasi sa mundo halos walang inflation. Sa Japan, zero inflation eh. Tapos na-hit siyempre nila 3%. Tuwan-tuwa sila sa sarili nila. Diba?
3 to 5% na ang
diba?
kanilang
Diba?
No, but with this, we
allowance
Achievement
nila.
na yun. Pero stagnant ang poverty at 30% of the population, very high ang unemployment and underemployment. 22% actually ang unemployment and underemployment if you measure it, di ba? It is equivalent to about what? 14 million people diba? Of the labor force. Yun na nga labor force, dinaya pa nila yun eh. Kasi normally, ang labor force should be people who are 15 years and above.
No, if you're
That's
not
about
looking for a
40
job,
million.
you're not,
That's about 40 million. Tapos sinabi pa nila, hindi ka kasama sa labor force pag hindi ka naghahanap ng trabaho. So eliminated ka agad yung mga housewives, yung mga standby, yung mga unskilled, ganyan.
Kaya nga isang problema natin, these are one of the concerns, yung access to financing. Wala kang mahirapan kang...
Is PCCI doing something with, at least speaking with the PSP? I mean,
we are. As a matter of fact,
Diba meron kayo dyan na...
to the point that we are asking a review of the charter.
Of the central bank?
To include.
No, review you read the old charter of
They
the
really-
central bank.
The old charter, yeah.
They wanted to strengthen yung ano nila. But we want to inclusion lang. So even just a statement
Yes.
that in consonance with the economic growth
Requirements.
and employment requirement.
Yeah,
Gusto namin ayaw nila ilagay.
Gusto lang ng central bank na amendment sa charter, yung hindi sila madedemanda.
Yun.
Yun lang ang pinaka number one objective nila.
So if
Hindi sila
that's-
madedemanda maski wala na sila sa central bank, di ba?
That they will have they cannot be sued.
Sued,
Yeah.
Saka kung mademanda sila, they will be funded by the central bank.
I think that is already, di ba?
Nag-given na yun, di ba?
Given na yun. Talagang...
So if that's the way it is, we're kind of left out on the cold on our own. How do we solve this or attempt to solve this given businesses? But before you answer that, we're going to cut to a short break. You're watching BizNews. We're speaking with PCCI. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So, gentlemen, as businesses, well, what can we do? Like Tony was saying, banks are awash with cash.
Yeah, the economy
Central bank is so, but it's so hard to get a loan.
Well,
as an SME,
yeah.
as an SME.
You know, 13 years ago, we passed the Magna Carta for SME.
Meron.
Kasama yung Agri-Agra law, remember? Mandating banks to give 8% of their portfolio to SMEs.
May ganyang batas.
Meron yun. Meron allocation yun.
Natapos yung batas.
Wala na comply.
Wala nangyari because central bank gave
Required.
the alternative that if you buy central bank notes, you have
Pwede
to
na
comply.
yun, SME. No?
So, nag-amend tayo 2 years ago. We have now the amended, sinama pa natin yung micro, amended MSME law, which gives 10%, 8% and 2%. Kasi kasama na ngayon yung micro.
Agri-agra.
No? So, okay na. We were able to succeed in eliminating the alternative compliance of selling T-bills. Natanggal din sa charter
Wala
ng
pa rin.
banks nila. Ang ginawa naman nila ngayon, yung IRR, legislate nila yung minimum penalty of 500,000 per violation, ginawa, tapos plus sa administrative sanction,
Binaba.
nangyari, merong nilagay yung full compliance, yung partial compliance.
Nilagay ng
Nilagyan
punatilya.
Which
Para
makes
hindi
it
ka na
cheaper.
mape-penalize.
Which make it cheaper for banks to, ano.
Saka it's better to violate
Yes.
than lose your money in lending.
And the reportorial is such that nilalampi nila ano, and everybody's now
Complying, supposedly.
You know, there were two agencies that were supposed to be strengthened because of that. One is what we call the Sped Council, and one is the SB Corporation, yung SBGFC nung araw yun.
SBC.
Yan yung small buga na
Small
tinatawag
business.
ni FBR, no?
The only alternative compliance that was allowed was if the banks cannot lend out their portfolio, they must buy preferred shares of SB Corporation. My vision then was it will be one of the biggest financing
Institutions.
institution
Yes.
because of that.
Yes.
Tapos yung SBED Council, dati-dati, marami siyang, dati-dati, it was composed of the Secretary of Finance, the Central Bank Governor, and 3 representatives from the bank. One is Universal, Commercial, and then 3 banks. Naging na lang yun.
And the private sector.
Naging isa na lang yun. Rotation yung bangko na wala yung Secretary of Finance, na yung Governor. Thinking na ngayon, hindi na regulatory capture ang SBED Council. Ganun pa rin because of the IRR.
Siguro,
yung SB Corporation, wala naglalagay ng pre-purchase because everybody's complying. After 3 years na wala nangyayari, hindi ko alam kung ilan lang yung naging
siguro,
penalty.
in connection with Yolanda, gawing yung when you build a house for Yolanda victims should be considered SME lending. 1 million houses were lost during Yolanda.
Yeah.
Diba? And we produce only at the most 200,000
Per house.
houses per year. So 5-year program yan. Dapat yan ipasok. You know, the banking system has loanable funds the commercial of 5 trillion. 5 trillion, June. Ang sinasabi mo 10%, that is 500 billion. Sabi ni John Palapos, kailangan lang nila 300 billion. So sobra-sobra na yun.
$7 billion.
Pera pa yung mga foreign pledges. Pera pa yung mga pledges ng mga local conglomerates. So, ang daming pera talaga. Kailangan lang konting sipag.
The other thing that you were trying to say before, which was about a year ago, si Secretary Domingo started saying, the government should realize that hindi lahat ng loan dapat there are such developmental to So,
hindi dapat profit motivated.
Hindi dapat profit motivated. And I guess it died the natural death kasi nawala na parang true. Kasi, remember, you remember yung Masagana days? Yung sa whether we like it or not, wala talaga nagbayad, pero naka-export tayo ng rice.
Ang daming bigas, no? Bumaba bigas. Bumaba presyo ng
Well, I'm not saying repeat that, no? What I'm saying is, you accept the fact na pagka tinulungan mo yung developmental, yung mga maliliit, especially, hindi mo makukolekta yung as much.
Saka,
But you take it as a loss.
Yun, social equity is no price. Social equity. Kasi ang kapalit, no, pag di mo inasikaso, revolution, di ba? Restiveness, di ba? Galit ang mga tao sa'yo, di ba?
Well, alam mo
Mayaman ka nga, minumura ka ng mahirap. Di ba? Madadala mo.
Nagpapabigay nga tayo ng
Madadala
pera
mo ba?
Bago si utang na accept the
Although may
fact na hindi
kasabihan dyan na
mababayaran.
you cannot bring your money to the grave. Si Janet Lim, disprove it Doon niya tinatago sa cemetery pala yung pera.
Yung kanyang pera. Pero...
So, what is the government doing? They have to know this. They know this. It's
Alam naman nila yan,
perennial problem. So,
Alam mo, for this growth to continue, kailangan ayusin nila yan. Hindi lang yan, but also yung modernization ng mga airports, seaports, construction ng mga roads, bridges. Lahat ito, kailangan yan Di ba? Dumadami yung tourism natin. So, kaya you need that, no?
Siguro, pero mga ordinary workers ngayon, they spend 4 hours on the road commuting.
Exactly.
Their job and
That's right.
home.
Kailangan may mga connection yan from the airport to
okay na yung
seaport.
4 hours Kawawa pa sila, di ba? Namamas sila, nagigidgit sila, nadudukutan sila, di ba?
Lahat ito, parang hindi mo napapansin, but lahat ito kailangan para masustain mo yung growth mo.
Alam mo, Bet, you came from from the sector that is really ang biggest salesman, MMDA. You know why we're having all these traffics? We have more than 30% cars because of the
Booming car sales.
bad economy, good economy, the sales of car goes up. Why? Because of the
Traffic.
color coding.
Color
Because of
code.
the color
That's
coding.
right.
Look at all the villages now. Dati, if you have one garage, you have one car. If you have two garages, you have
Ngayon,
two
dami
cars.
nakaparada sa
Ngayon,
labas,
Puno,
no?
puno lahat yung ano eh. And the thinking is, sige, kasi off the road ng one day, so bibili ng extra car, gagamitin for that off the road. No. Pag binili mo yung 6 days, tatakbo rin yung extra car na yun. So,
Saka,
and
Jun,
we were focusing on ano,
Senior citizen,
Saka
libre
John,
ka sa
Mike,
mga-
mas madali pa kumuha ng loan pa bumili ng 1 million peso car than to get a 1 million loan for working capital of a small business.
Small business talaga. Kasi
Tapos ang bilis, one day
may
processing.
collateral
Mag-try ka
conscious
to
pa rin
borrow a
yung
small
bank.
business
Pag
loan.
small business,
Siguro
Alam mo-
kulang ang 2 linggo.
alam mo, Tony, that's why I was saying, if we are delayed do sa 2015 na
Integration.
it's the fact that hindi natin na-address yung lending to SMEs.
Ayun ba?
Hindi natin na-address yun. Yung ibang nating neighbors,
Saka Jun,
na-address na yun.
Yun
Tayo,
yung sinasabing
may mga
integration na
programa
Pero
20.
kaya naman
Yun-
i-address yun eh.
Yun
Diba?
yung sinasabing integration ng 2015. That's a myth, ha? Actually, it's January 2016. Sinasabi lang 2015, ni-move nila sa December.
well, actually, the fact is, yung mga tariff binagsak na eh.
Yeah.
So, but when push comes to shove, like, 2-3 months ago, Thailand, they show here, showing their products. No? Tapos the prices that they are going to sell
Expo
it,
sila,
hindi
no?
kaya ng domestic natin. Yung exporters natin, they can compete. They know how to
They
compete.
can.
Yes.
But yung domestic natin, na walang funding, walang product development, walang support sa ano, hindi kaya. They will be flooded.
Overwhelmed.
Kalimutan mo rin yung Chinese product. Yung sa Asian, pag
Asia
talaga
pa lang.
nagbanggaan yan,
Yeah.
at pare-pareho tayo ng produkto, hindi
Talo tayo.
makakakompete yung
Talo
domestic
tayo.
natin.
So will Philippines be a loser in this 2015 or 20? But
Some-
before you answer
some
that, we're
areas.
going to cut to a short break. You're watching BizNews. We'll be right back.
yun naman.
Welcome back. June, on the whole, Philippines more on a winner for ASEAN integration 2015?
Well, I think many of us are not prepared. But in certain areas, especially in financing, we're not prepared. And I think it will take a toll on us, on our SMEs.
Pero,
Alam mo, we have a larger market.
Yeah,
May ACC.
kasi tayo, Philippines is 100 million.
Magagaling naman yung ating mga ibang
Philippines
negosyante.
is 100 million. That's bigger than Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand combined. Di ba? So,
That's right.
problema mo na
That's
lang
right.
yung Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Singapore, 5 million. Malaysia, 22 million. Thailand, ilan? 50 million.
But we need to support our SMEs so we can export.
Pero,
No. So that they can compete. Because, as you said, malaki tayong market. Dadayuhin tayo eh.
Yes.
O, yun nga.
They're coming.
Tayo,
Yun nga ang
wala
problema
tayong
natin,
ganang
no?
dumayo ron.
Yes.
So we have to compete.
correct.
Domestically.
And
we have
these
to compete
people,
domestically.
these producers na pagaling sa Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, are very efficient.
Yes.
Oo.
Tsaka mura kuryente ron.
Pero alam mo, alternative tayo ngayon. Tumataas ang cost of living at ng
In
Indonesia,
others also, yeah.
Thailand.
Ganun.
Lahat
Singapore,
yan.
lalo na, no?
Kaya tinitingnan nila yung Pilipinas.
So, paano ngayon? Paano natin sila...
Kaya nga
darating
sinasabi
yung baha
nila,
Paano yung
kaya
baha
sinasabi nila, yung manufacturing sector ay pinag-iinteresan ngayon, even by Japan. Di ba sinasabi nila?
How to serve this
Yes.
larger market, no? 550 million, di ba?
That's right.
550 million middle class.
That's true. Kaya tinitingnan nila yan. Gusto nila din ang consolidated production base, di ba? So they look at the Philippines
O kasi
as
Thailand, imbis na you produce for 50 million, you can produce for 550 million.
That's right.
So you have economies of scale, lower cost of production.
lower cost of production.
Greater
Kaya,
efficiency.
ito yung mga opportunities natin na nakikita.
Mga businesses natin.
Oo, itong mga businesses natin nakikita. Kailangan lang siguro,
Mga tawag ko dyan, integration refugees. Hindi sila maka-pick up sa sarili nilang bansa, punta sila rito.
punta sila rito
Gagamitin nila
talaga.
yung opportunities natin.
Lalo na ngayon, merong konting tension, di ba? Between Japan and China. Yung
Japan, pupunta na dito, imbis na sa China.
Of course, di ba? Yung high cost of living sa Indonesia at saka sa Thailand, pupunta rito yan.
Anyway,
di
yung
ba?
target na market ng Japan sa China, 1/4 lang siguro, one-third na. So that's 500 million.
di ba?
Nandito sa ASEAN yun.
Nandito yan. Kaya kailangan natin gawin friendly yung atmosphere natin dito.
For
Alisin
business.
natin yung mga bureaucracy. Yung pag-i-issuehan ng mga permit and licenses,
dapat mabilis
kailangan
yan, no?
mabilis,
in
di
the
ba?
Philippines, yeah.
Dapat mabilis
Para
yan
yung mga
eh.
investors
Kasi
pumasok.
binibigyan ka ng license kasi kala na hindi ka gagawa ng matino. Invest so much money, tapos isipin nila, hindi ka
Yeah,
gagawa ng
that's
matino.
right. You know,
Dapat bigay mo yung permit, check him after 1 year kung di nga siya gumawa ng matino.
exactly.
Kung may mga documentation mo, to follow.
Oh, to follow.
Pag-read nyo naman
Oo,
yan.
tama.
follow.
Follow. Yun. Alam mo, yun ang ating sinasabi, mga constraints na kailangan nating immediately address para sustainable yung ating
Anyway,
growth.
2014 is going to be positive on balance. Di ba?
Yeah,
Marami tayong pera, marami tayong plano, maraming oportunidad. Kailan lang
At
taga-sipag.
saka nandun yung
at
momentum
gawa.
The momentum is there Hindi ba? Kaya kailangan lang konting
Implementation.
Happy
We'll
New
push
Year
and
to you,
implementation.
gentlemen.
Happy New Year.
And good luck.
Good luck and more power, gentlemen.
Salamat sa iyo.
You've watched another episode of BizNews. I'm Elizabeth Lee, together with Tony Lopez. See us every Monday at 7. We'll see you again next week. Have a good night and God bless.
Thank you.